I realized you were someone who cared. Now that you're gone, I'm haunted by the emptiness. I live with the pain of losing your love and your sweet caress. Only the faithful have hearts that are true. They wait through the rain for the sun to shine through. Lonely the faithful, they stand on their own. Love will survive and keep it alive. Faithful come home. Echoes of time, pages of photographs, taking me back to the day when we loved and laughed. Now I see the strength that you needed when your guard was down. I'll be here waiting to call you again, but I know what you'll say. Only the faithful have hearts that are true. They wait out the rain. Lonely the faithful, they stand on their own. Love will survive and keep it alive. Faithful come home. Time spent apart can weaken the heart when life seems to lead us astray. No simple emotion can steal your devotion. I need you to show me the way. Oh, lonely the faithful, they stand on their own. Love will survive and keep it alive till the faithful come home. Only the faithful have hearts that are true, and they wait out the rain for the sun to shine through. Lonely the faithful, they stand on their own. Love will survive and keep it alive till the faithful come home. I walk alone with memories of the time we shared. I realized you were someone who cared. Now that you're gone, I'm haunted by the emptiness. I live with the pain of losing your love and your sweet caress. Only the faithful have hearts that are true. They wait through the rain for the sun to shine through. Lonely the faithful, they stand on their own. Love will survive and keep it alive. Faithful come home. and laugh. Now I see the strength that you needed when your guard was down. I'll be here waiting to call you again, but I know what you'll say. Only the faithful have hearts that are true. They wait out the rain for the sun to shine through. Only the faithful, they stand on their own. Love will survive, they keep it alive. Faithful come home. Time spent apart can weaken the heart when life seems to lead us astray. No simple emotion can steal your devotion. I need you to show me the way. Don't leave the faithful, they stand on their own. Love will survive and keep it alive till the faithful come home. Only the faithful have hearts that are true, and they wait out the rain for the sun to shine through. Lonely the faithful, they stand on their own. Love will survive, they keep it alive till the faithful come home. I walk alone with memories of the time we shared. I realize you were someone who cared. Now that you're gone, I'm haunted by the emptiness. I live with the pain of losing your love.
Children of the Lawn.
Children of the Lawn.
We love our children of the lawn. We don't have any weeds in our children of the lawn.
And we don't have any children, so
No, we don't.
no, we don't.
We all act like children.
Right.
So that is
And we still practice.
close enough.
But
Okay, so Lauren
Okay,
Richardson
wow,
wanted
what?
to know who was singing that song. You
Joe
wanna-
Lynn Turner
And he was a singer for Rainbow and
and Deep Purple and yeah. Oh, and Joe Lynn Turner.
And,
certainly
Fandango.
no stranger to the New Jersey musicians, certainly back in the day, and no stranger to any of us, because the guy sings his ass off, and that's why I think that's the second song that I played for you that Joe
sang the demo of.
sang the demo.
Yeah.
And the thing that's so great about Joe, if I may be so bold, hang on, get rid of that.
There's a couple
No, but I
things
wanna
great
still
about
see.
Joe.
Yeah, no, there's plenty great about
Singing
Joe.
is
Let's
number
not
one.
gonna do this, but yeah, he's a great.
And he checks his ego at the door when he's working on projects like that.
Yes.
And so that's great too.
No, he really but the thing that's great about Joe in the studio is, if I were to play the other song, I think I played "Vieux Carré" for you, the New Orleans song. Totally different voice, same guy, same great moves, but a little different color, and that's and Robin Zander is that way. Robin Zander can sing the same song like 5 different people. Man of 1,000 Voices, I think it is. Yeah, but so let me give you the back.
You always know it's Jolene.
Yeah,
I think you always know it's Robin too.
you certainly always know it's Robin.
Yep.
I think I would always I think I would always know it was Jolene. Anyway,
I think that
the
was
song I get a call from my friend Chris Cassone, who
has been on the show.
he's been on the show. He's a singer, songwriter, but really I know him as an engineer.
And he was the one that was good friends with Ace Frehley before Ace.
He's still friends with you.
Yeah, but before Ace was in Kiss. Ace was walking down the street in the Bronx with his amp.
Right. Anyway, so Chris, I've said a million times on the show, if you want to be in this club, you can be in it. But if you want to stay in it, sometimes it's very necessary to reinvent yourself, and more times than not, because if you don't stay fresh, it's not a good thing. So, everybody, I guess, tries their hand if they have the aptitude for it. Everybody tries their hand at songwriting, and so Chris Cassone, like I said, I knew him as an engineer. I didn't know him as a songwriter, and he had done up before that song. He arranged and recorded the street, the doo-wop vocals, the a cappella vocals for Bronx Tale, with Chaz Palminteri and was De Niro in that? I guess he was, right?
Yeah.
And
he played a good guy in that, the father.
That's why I didn't remember.
Yeah.
So
like the only movie he plays a good guy in, except those.
And
comedies.
so Chaz was from the area, and Chris and Chaz became friends, and Chaz calls up Chris and says, "Listen, I'm producing this movie with Cher, and I'm starring in it with her. It's called Faithful."
Right.
And he said, and I could probably, get you a piece. I can get you, So Chris writes the music to. Oh wait, no, we didn't have the music. We didn't have the music to anything.
No.
He comes over and tells me that Chaz Palminteri called him up and he's got.
Let's write some stuff.
Let's write some stuff. And I said, okay. So we wound up writing 2 songs. We wrote a song called Faithful, which I'll play for you at another time, and we wrote one called Only the Faithful. And Only the Faithful, we wrote, I don't even remember how Tico got involved with it.
You contacted Tico. You had seen him at China Club.
Oh, okay.
Bingo. And he was on the other side from where we usually sit.
Right.
And we never even went to the other side of the club.
No.
Because that's not where the VIP...
What was he doing over there?
I don't know. He was just standing there talking to people.
Well, anyway, I told him that we were doing this thing, and he said,
Rob
hey, guys...
Camilletti was over there.
Yeah, well, I guess if you want to get away from the,
Thank you, Michael.
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Okay. Continue.
If you want to get away from the, if you want to get away from the mayhem, you go over to the other side. I've never been there. No. I was always,
But we happened to go over there that night.
We ran into Tico that night, and we were the drummer for Bon Jovi has been forever. And for those of you that go back to New Jersey, he was the drummer in with T. Roth and Another Pretty Face, and I mean, Tico just.
Who's T. Roth?
So what?
T. Roth?
T. Roth.
Was that the name of the band? T. Roth and Another Pretty Face?
It was T. Roth was the front man.
I'm not from New Jersey, and in those days,
You had me fooled.
The people that I was with didn't play in Jersey a lot.
Okay, anyways, and that was very early on, and I don't know that.
Another Pretty Face.
Anyway,
Mousy
Tico, I think, got the best out of that deal. He's deservedly so. So we see him at the China Club. I said, I'm in this songwriting thing, and he says, well, come on down the house. And we said, okay. And so we write the song, and I'm going to let Jimmy in. So we write the song.
Roth.
What?
Terry Roth, Mousy said.
Terry Roth.
Terry Roth.
Oh, yeah, T. Roth.
Another
Right.
pretty face.
Thank you, Mouse. And thank you
Big
for...
time glam rock band.
Anyway, I don't want to tell this on Jimmy's
time.
thing. So we submit 2 songs, Faithful, which is the name of the movie, and Only the Faithful, which would be great for the credit roll, you know what I mean? Might as well be in the top. Chaz, Palm, and Terry, and Cheers. And so we're all excited. It's weeks go by, and we're in production, and blah, 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 blah. Long story short, the director in the last week of shooting gets fired, and they replace him with whoever the director is now in the movie, and he decides to use the song What a Difference a Day Makes instead of our song. So
Yeah, and the movie was a flop anyway. So.
but it was a good song. Yeah, it was. The movie was yeah. So I don't know which is worse, but anyway, there you go. Jimmy's here.
Okay. Hi, Jimmy.
There we
Hey.
go.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Yes.
All right. Hold on. I'm going to turn your volume up. Put you
Tell
full
he's not
screen
a
so I
drummer.
can see everything. There's a volume thing here somewhere. I think.
Yeah, no, you're good. You check 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Am I right?
2, 3, 8,
Oh, hello.
15, 9. I love your space capsule background. That's cool.
You know, it's where I feel the most at home.
The only weird thing is it makes your hair green.
It does. No, you know what that is? That's
Green screen.
this crazy. There's filters on this stuff, and it should not make my
Well,
is my hair
aliens
green?
have green hair sometimes.
Yeah, but I don't want to be Roger Daltrey. That's all right. Wait a minute. See there, I have this thing. Hang on. I'll. It's hard for me to tell because I don't have a real broadcast monitor, but we're gonna go with this, and we're gonna go here, and we will color key some of the spill.
Greener still. Looks like you got plant food in your hair.
No, I think I like
There
this.
you go. Woo!
Yeah,
I like it.
If I do this, the fish start coming. It's no good.
Yeah, really.
All right, so we're gonna go with this.
He's just young and hip and dyed it
Here you go.
green.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with hair, you see.
That's very true. There's not a lot of and
Nothing
I-
to have a
There's
problem
damage
with.
to that.
I can't remember when did I was playing with Leslie when I cut my hair. I was playing with Leslie West, and for some reason I decided it was time to cut my hair, and I had hair that was like, you know, if you're gonna do it, right?
You were playing with Leslie West? We're going to talk about that.
Oh, anytime, man. Oh God, yes. I played with Leslie I have the best Leslie stories.
Let me green.
Oh,
You know what I mean.
Oh,
Did you play
man.
with Felix too?
no, I didn't play with Felix. I played no. It was me, Leslie, and the bass player de jour.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Few bass players.
It's great. All right, you want a Leslie story real quick? I mean, if it can be real.
Oh,
quick.
I'll give you one too. We'll do Leslie for the first quarter.
Okay.
He used to open. I thought we had this conversation. Must have been with somebody else. He used to open for us when I was in the Critters with his band, the Vagrants,
Yeah.
with him and his brother Larry.
Right. We touched on this, I think, but
Yeah. And he's the guy who taught me how to do the harmonics with the king.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
Oh, okay, yeah. He was getting these great he'd go Dano king like that and hitting it every time. So I dragged him backstage and I said, "You got to tell me how you do that." And he said, "Oh yeah, no problem." You know, with his gruff voice. So you take your finger like this, you know, and you just the side of your thumb and you just hit it like that and catch it with that. And he says, "Trouble is, you gotta every time you fret down here, if you move the fret, you gotta move your hand slightly here or you'll miss it. So you have to do this." You know, and it's like a violin. There's no frets. You got to figure out where. But he knew where everyone was.
Well, that's why he always played a small body guitar too. And I'll tell you,
That's true.
I'll tell you, this is a great because I like to stay in the theme of things. So we'll go. I call that the pig squeal, right? That
Pig squeal, okay.
right? And so and this is a John and Leslie story too. You know, just to mix it up. I need Leslie to do a guitar track and a vocal on a track that we did for a television show, blah blah blah.
Okay.
And so I said to Leslie, you know, you gotta, you know, like let me get a couple of pig squeals in there, man. You know, come on. You know,
Sure.
you're not paying me enough for pig squeals, Steve.
That's the voice. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
believe me.
Yeah.
Hey, I've gotten this. This is the phone call, 8:30 in the morning. Steve, yeah, you want to play on my album? Sure. When? In an hour.
He was a troubled soul, but damn.
Oh God, but you know, he he called me a few weeks before he passed away,
Yeah, really.
and he said, "Yeah, I just want to let you know I moved to Florida. I'm living in Florida now."
Ah.
And I said, "That's great, man. How you doing?" "I got one fucking leg. How do you think I'm doing?"
A leg?
Oh, yeah, he
yeah.
had to have his leg amputated. Oh man, yeah.
What happened to his leg?
Diabetes,
He
you
was
know. I
playing
mean,
with one
oh
leg.
no, yeah, no, but yeah.
Yeah, he and his brother were pretty druggy. I think they crossed some,
Well,
crossed
that,
some
yeah, but
red
that was,
line.
yeah. Well, I don't know if that had. Well, I don't know. Listen, you know,
Who knows?
Well,
you
he
know,
was very overweight.
yeah, I think.
Always was.
And the thing about Leslie, if he can be miserable, if you can possibly be miserable with him.
Yeah.
I remember when they did the diabetes thing, because he was having these like really sonic meltdowns, you
Yeah.
know, the mood swings from the insulin or the lack of whatever it was.
And he was on
And
what's that anti-heroin?
Yeah, and he was on methadone. He was on a
Methadone,
methadone
yeah.
program, so he was really going through some shit. And we get off the bus one day, and he says, "Look at this! I got this new machine." And he puts his finger in on the thing, and I guess it stabs him, and it gives him his blood sugar and this and that.
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
other
Oh, I
thing.
know that one.
And so I don't know anything
Oh.
about it. So he says, "Come on, you do it." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because you never know. Come on, you got it." And he makes me do it, and he goes, "Ah, fuck." And I said, "Well, what?" And he said, it's perfect."
Tell him about the Krispy Kreme.
I know. I guess whatever 300 is or whatever it's supposed to be,
Yeah,
that's
right.
what I was. And he was like, "Ah."
I would be concerned about that needle getting into your veins after it was in his, you know.
Well, yeah, true story there. True, but I think there's something it does that I don't know.
Yeah, I would. That's
know
a
what?
good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. Shit, they encourage you not to swap needles
Yeah.
for a good reason.
not.
Well, I don't. You know, that's a good. Well, it's too late.
But you're
now.
still here, so you did okay. You got
Yeah,
lucky.
no, I think I squeaked by.
You dodged a bullet. Dodged a bullet.
Yeah. So, okay, I remember the Vagrants' involvement. Did we have later involvement with?
No, just the Vagrants. There was, well, when I worked at Dan Armstrong's, the guitar shop, an amp came in, a bass amp that Felix Papalardi sent in. And then we fixed it for him. I was working there for about a year. We fixed it for him. And then he said, "I'm sending a guy to pick it up." And I said, "Yeah, can you send him with a check?" He says, "What are you talking about, a check?" I said, "Well, there were no credit cards in these days, or they were very rare.
Yeah.
I'll pay for it when I freaking feel like it." And I'm like, "Well, you'll pay for it or the amp doesn't leave the shop." He says, "Who do you think you're talking to?" And I said, "Felix Papalardi, you owe us $120 for the repair of the amp. Bring a check down or the amp stays here. And if you leave it long enough, we'll sell it." "I'm going to come down here and kick your ass." I said, "Come on down, we'll talk." Wow, he was so freaking hostile. He must have been hostile to his wife too, because she decided she wasn't going to take it any longer. Boom.
Right?
Wow,
Wow,
man.
yeah, she
you know.
shot him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Felix, where you going? That gun in your hand.
Wow, man. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Well.
did not know him.
So the
Yeah.
other the funny Leslie story. It's not even a funny story. What he thought was good stage wear, he opened up for us, and you know he was a 300-pounder easily. He had a full 360-degree cape on that went almost to the floor, that was feathers. He looked like a freaking nuclear turkey. Like a turkey had been too close to the radiation. And it was so bad and so horrible, but he was out there, and all you could see was the head of his Les Paul Jr. because the guitar was underneath his cape. It wasn't even on the outside.
Oh man.
Killing it. I mean, he was as good as he ever was. He was absolutely fantastic, but the look was probably not his best. And you know, the hair out to here,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Straight
and
out.
he told you about Larry's candy store. Leslie told
Yeah, but well, I don't. Those are Larry's stories left to tell. Do you know about the candy store that
that Larry ran
that Larry ran?
Oh boy.
No,
in Queens.
they had candy there.
Aha!
Ah.
Aha!
Wink,
Here we
wink,
go.
nudge, nudge. Yeah, like.
We're going to see
Yeah.
the candy man there.
Yeah, it was, but it's a whole story, and I'm not sure
Kind of
whether
like
this.
now. There's gummy bears.
Yeah, but it's still.
Oh, that's true.
It's not like now. Not like
No,
now.
not like that.
Anyway.
Yeah, so yeah, good Leslie. God bless him, man.
Okay,
Yeah,
wait. Now we did not get into Jeff's history. All we got into was the Entwistle stuff.
Well, now we just did
Yeah,
Leslie. Good.
you worked with Carly Simon before she was a.
Before she was Carly Simon. I didn't work with her. I was her friend.
Oh, you were a friend.
We were just buddies. Yeah. I was introduced to her on the last Critters album because Dan Armstrong produced the last Critters album. And he just brought her by one day. He says, "Oh, here's my girlfriend." And I recognized her because I had seen her with Elephant's Memory at the scene, Steve Paul's scene. Right?
Elephant's Memory. Wow.
I was their lead singer briefly. And I really wanted to get a picture of her with them. And I asked her about it. She says, "I know I have one. I'll look for it." But she couldn't find it. That was 1967.
Yeah.
68, something like that. Anyway, I didn't think much of it. We met, we hung out, we talked. And I said, "Are you doing anything with music?" Because, she sounded great with them. She said, "Not really. I'm just kind of a secretary at the moment." And I went, "Oh, okay, well, whatever, So then I went to work at the store, and then she would come and hang out at the store all the time. So we'd go out on double dates together. Eventually, we started doing jingles together, believe it or not. She had some connections in that business, and she would call me and say, "They need a male voice. You want to do a jingle with me?" I said, "Sure. What's a jingle?" But it sounds interesting. And so, so we'd go in and sing about toilet paper and, pickles and mustard stuff. And then, eventually I left the guitar store and she left Dan. And she contacted me about 6 months after that happened, said, "Hey, I got an album deal. Do you want to play on my record?" And I said, "Hell yeah."
Oh,
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So I worked on her first album. It was me and Skunk Baxter and, a couple of,
Skunk.
Yeah. It was a whole potpourri of people. She just called in all these studio musicians. So I played on 3 cuts. He played on 3 cuts. All right. So that was that. And then eventually Electric, that's what I've always heard it should be, her first hit, started really racing up the charts. And Jack Holzman, Electra's president, really was putting pressure on her to tour. And she was panicking because she doesn't like to play live. Never did.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
We've heard
And
that.
so we were talking. She says, "Look, they want me to tour. Can you help me put a band together?" I said, "Well, I just happen to have a band that you might like." And at the time, I had a rock trio. I thought I told you all this, but I must have. I've done a bunch of these interviews.
But it's always been, it's like spaghetti. It's always better the second time.
Always been a second time. So we had an ELP type band. After Paul and I got out of the crazy world of Arthur Brown, we decided to put a trio like that together. And we tried a couple of drummers. Kevin Ellman was one of our drummers. Do you know Kevin?
No, I know he is, but I don't.
Yeah. He had some crazy problems with his dad. His dad kept putting him in an insane asylum. He was not insane, but his dad was a little bit controlling. So, that was a little bit too much for us. So we asked around. We found this guy, Andy Newmark.
I know Andy. Yeah, sure.
Everybody knows Andy. Andy had no credentials at that point, but he was a damn good drummer. So we fooled around with this band. We made some demos. Nothing was really happening. And then when I said to Carly, I said, "Look, I've got these guys. Why don't you listen to them?" And it was Paul Glantz, who was the last keyboard player from the Critters. And he also worked with Meatloaf and Roy Buchanan. He's a serious keyboard player. So we went up to her house and she listened to him and she loved him. So that became the band that did the whole the first tour and in the Anticipation album. And Andy and I went on to do No Secrets. Paul got left behind because he and Carly didn't get along so well.
Yeah.
Well, that happened.
Yeah, that does happen,
Was
man.
this New York or LA or
what?
Where was this? New York, LA?
Well, which part?
Where you and Carly were?
Oh, New York. New York. She had an apartment, I think 35th or 36th Street.
Wow.
And I had one on 38th Street, so I was just up the block from her. So, we would just go to her living room and rehearse, because those are the folky days. It was acoustic guitar. I had a little Trainer bass amp about, I don't know what, yeah, now it's on camera. Okay. About this big, a little thing like that. It was perfect. I played Carnegie Hall with this bass amp.
Wow.
You mic the thing up, it's as big as the PA system. That's, so she was acoustic piano, Paul, and back and forth with that and guitar. I would play acoustic guitar. Paul would come off the piano. She would get on the piano, and Paul would play bass. So we would just swap instruments around and do the whole set.
That's great, man. I mean, that's very creative and very appropriate for that period of music. That it would be that kind of cell of, of chemistry. That's really what makes all the great things happen.
And she's an alto. She's not a soprano. So she has a very rich, full voice. So between that and the acoustic instruments, the sound was as big as a house. It didn't need much. When you're using all acoustic instruments, like a big piano and a 12-string guitar with a bass and tastefully played drums, that's a big sound.
Yeah.
Especially in a place like Carnegie Hall, where we played with Cat Stevens. And in Cat Stevens' band was pretty much the same thing. He had Jean Roussel playing keyboards. He was playing acoustic guitar. Alan Davies was his other guitar player. Had a couple of girls singing sometimes he didn't. And Jerry Conway playing drums, and that's it. And he sounded great. Those were the days when you could do it.
That was back in the day when everybody was listening to one another too. Then it got when it got loud. A lot of that nuance went away for a while. I mean, we figured out how to get it back, at a more increased volume. But that was, I came up. When that stuff was all in full bloom, I was just probably starting out in my career or whatever it was, teenager, and it was such a, I hate to say organic, because I don't want to get on the peace train, but
hey, we all need to get on the peace train.
That's right.
Well,
yes, we
do. I'll tell you what. Yeah. We do need to.
Actually, we're trying to stay on the peace train. We're about to get bumped off it. If somebody crosses that little line by Poland, a bullet just slips over that border, all hell is going to break loose. They're just waiting. Our F-35s are just kind of cruising around the border, just waiting for a slip.
Let's get back to Cat Stevens.
It's such a, but the one thing, I hear you.
Okay, is that before Carly and Cat Stevens went out together?
During.
This
was all our I can't remember. I think the Troubadour in LA was our first gig. I always get this mixed up whether the Troubadour was or Central Park, the Schaefer Festival. One of those was the first one. Anyway, the Troubadour, I think, was our first gig, and we opened for Cat Stevens. So we all met the Cat Stevens band at the same time, and they got romantically involved for about 10 minutes or so, maybe 12. And they're still friends to this day, but the romance part was very brief.
But enough for her to get a hit song from.
Well, right. His not showing up on time produced Anticipation,
Oh, I thought You're So Vain was about Cat.
No. That's Warren Beatty.
Oh,
That's
a
whole
Warren
other
Beatty.
story.
Oh, see, no, it was, everyone was debating Mick Jagger, Warren Beatty, and then a year ago, someone in the business wrote, I know for a fact it's Cat Stevens.
Well,
Mick Jagger, Warren Beatty, tonight at 6.
So Anticipation was about Cat Stevens.
Yeah, she had invited him up for dinner, and she made like this fantastic gourmet dinner, and he was like an hour and 10 minutes late, or something like that. She tells this whole story in her book Boys in the Trees, but and she was having a breakdown. She was like nervous. She was like, this guy is so rude. How could he do this? I'm doing such a nice thing. So she went in her bedroom, picked up the guitar, and Anticipation fell out in about a half hour. Words and music. And she didn't tell him at the time, but eventually he got the news. But,
But he didn't get the check, did he? No. No check for you.
Well, now, I can totally understand it being Warren Beatty.
Yeah.
And she says that's one of them. Again, in her book, she says it's no secret anymore. But she thinks each verse is about a different person. Maybe, I don't know. I have no
Well,
idea.
I mean, the truth,
Yeah.
when I write, if I'm not writing something that's specific to my own truth, and I'm just trying to write a song in a vein that I feel is coming, I draw from a lot of experiences to
course.
try to concoct a story that might not necessarily be true universally. So
I think it wasn't John Steinbeck. It was can't remember what author it was, but he used to go to the front lines in World War II so that he could write stories about World War II. He said, I can't make this stuff up. I got to be there with the soldiers, and I got to talk to them, and I've got to hear what they have to say, and then the stories come out of that.
I think that was John Steinbeck, but
It might have been. Yeah.
could be. Oh man! So wow.
Yeah.
So that's most of the Carly story. The Warren Beatty thing, I'll tell a story. She tells it better, but it's really good.
Okay.
Carly, first of all, I thought the story came out of an interaction, or Your Sylvain came out of an interaction I had with Warren Beatty, which was we were playing at the Troubadour, and somebody knocked on our dressing room door, and I opened the door, and there's this dweeby looking guy, big glasses, and one of those flammable rayon shirts with a collar about 6 inches high. And he says, I like to see Carly. And I said, well, we're about to go on, maybe after the show. I said, I'd like to see Carly. I said, dude, later. And I slammed the door in his face. So I turn around, and Carly's sitting over there on a sofa with a guitar, and she's looking at me with this very wide-eyed, deer in the headlights stare. And I go, what? She says, you have any idea who that was? And I go, no. She says, it was Warren Beatty. I went, oh shit. Oh no. Let me go get him. I'm so sorry. She said, no, don't. She said, he needs that. She says, I don't think anyone has ever done that to him. And that was freaking wonderful. Leave it. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
You got it. And I swear that's where Your Sylvain came from. I asked her about it because when she wrote Boys in the Trees, she first contacted me, said, I have to write a biography, my publisher, blah, blah, blah. Please send me everything you remember from those days. And I did. And I sent that story. I said, am I right about the Warren Beatty story? She said, I'll never tell. So, who knows? But that was my impression of it.
Okay.
But another quick Warren Beatty story that she told us. This is so good. She's in bed. He calls her up at like 7 a.m. and says, I've got to see you. I've got to see you. And she's like, dude, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't care. I have to see you. And she goes, okay. And she thinks about it. She says, this is kind of cool. This big movie star wants to, well, so he came up and, whatever happens when people have to see you. And anyway, that afternoon, 2 o'clock, she had a shrink appointment. So she sits down with her shrink, and she said, I was kind of excited about it. It was a little weird because he left right away. He says, I've got a film shoot. I got, color light check, the whole thing. I got to go. Thank you so much. Oh my God, I'm so grateful. And she's telling her shrink this story, and he goes like this, puts his hand up and starts going, shaking his head, almost doing a palm hand, not quite, just kind of the shrink, this thing like this. She goes, what? He says, this is the third time I've heard this story today.
Oh, about Warren Beatty?
Yes, he was making the rounds. I don't know who the other two were, and he didn't say. But apparently he jumped from Carly to another woman. That's why he had to get out of there fast.
That's a big day.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of protein drinks he was drinking.
Yeah, I was going to say that's some stamina.
That's some serious stamina, man.
Yeah, that's there's a secret to that. Viagra
did not exist.
Oh no. Listen, everybody each to his own sewage.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe a little off topic.
So was that it for her and him after that?
No, I think, well, I don't really know. I would have to ask her. She kind of made it a fun story. And I actually asked her, I said, do you really want to put that in this book? And she said, it's been 45 years or something like that. He's been married to Annette Bening for 20 of those years, or 25 of those years. It's water over the dam. And she says he will probably be thrilled that I told this story because it makes him look like a super stud.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, and he wasn't with Annette at the time, so what's the difference?
That we
That's
know of.
Oh no, he didn't know her. He was with Julie Christie.
Yeah, right. Those are the ones that were going to that shrink. They were.
Yeah, it was Annette and Julie. Well, hey, you guys want to
Okay,
make a movie? All right.
Our viewers have two different things to say. One of them, who is a man, says, "What a thug," and the other one, who is a man, says, "What a man."
Okay, there you go.
Two different viewpoints.
Two different viewpoints. Two different views.
Yeah, and you know what? If Warren Beatty's a dog, he's got to own it,
Hey.
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
People like dogs.
we.
Yeah.
You
And
know
like
what?
you
I'm
said,
not
he was
even.
not with-
I'm not
he
even
was
going to
not
go into the
married.
We can move
contest.
We can move along.
Well,
Move along.
because
But I tell some of these stories in the book.
I'll tell you what.
that book,
I've
you
never
know,
had.
stole one of those books
Oh
for you.
yeah.
book.
We sold at least one of those.
The next day,
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Sue
Right.
Lacente bought one.
Mm-hmm.
Who did?
Sue Lacente.
Nice. Thank you, Sue. If you're
Yep, she
tuned
lives in Pennsylvania, and she
Yep.
watches the show every night. And she bought it and told us, "I bought his book yesterday."
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
So you want to show that book again?
Yeah, go do it.
It's a juicy book.
It is a juicy book.
What's it
It's
called?
I don't really dish on anybody, but what I do is I tell the truth, and sometimes it's really funny, sometimes it's tragic, sometimes it's weird as hell, but it's always the truth. And that all the stories that I tell, I just basically sit you down next to me and you're there. That's how I tell them. It's all in first person, and I walk you through the corridors of wherever we are.
Well, she's
I'm
40
up to
pages
71 5-stars on it.
Oh.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
she's 40
Yeah,
pages
she's 40
into
pages in.
It. Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
That's the B side of 30 Days in the Hole.
Okay.
40 pages in.
Were you going to have me read a short chapter or something? Did we talk
Yeah.
about that?
I would love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We said if you were down
Did you
for it,
pick one?
we would love to do that.
All right. Let's do the Sly and the Family Stone chapter.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Steve has one of
All
those
right.
too.
Yeah, but it's not,
Not in a book.
No, it's not in the book.
All right.
I got to find it.
This is from Jimmy's book.
I should have had this all set.
What chapter is
No,
it?
that's all right.
Okay, it's page 91.
Okay, page 91.
Follow along. Students,
And
if you
it's
please
Sly.
I'm
turn
going
to
to take
page
these off because I can
91.
see better without them.
Sly
Okay.
and the Family Stone.
So, thought it's a family affair. What do you do when you're on a break from a gig at the Troubadour with one of the biggest rising stars in the USA? Why, you audition for Sly and the Family Stone, of course. I'm not kidding. Jerry Gibson, Sly's drummer, had left the band, and our Andy Newmark got a call from his friend, Pat Rizzo, Sly's sax player, and they were looking for a replacement. There were all kinds of internal conflicts going on with the band. That could mean trouble on the horizon, but Andy knew nothing about them and was eager to jump in and audition. Here's the true story.
Okay.
We would finish our first set with Carly, and after a quick equipment shuffle, Cat Stevens would come on and do an hour and 15 minutes. Then the first audience would exit and the second would be seated, which takes about 45 minutes. That leaves a 2-hour window to get into our little budget rental car and head to 783 Bel Air Road, Sly Stone's Beverly Hills mansion. I volunteered to be Andy's wingman. The Troubadour isn't far from the Beverly Hills, so the journey took about 14 minutes. We pull up in front, park in the driveway with a few other cars, and look at each other. Me, you ready for this? Andy, yeah, no, I don't know. It's kind of weird, just showing up. So I say, did Pat call Sly and tell him you were coming? Andy, not sure, maybe. Maybe. And I say, oh, what the hell? Let's ring the doorbell. What's the worst that can happen? Andy, okay, let's go. We do that. We're met at the door by a very large gentleman who looks like he spends 10 hours per day at the gym and hasn't had a pleasant thought in 20 years. He opens up the door with a grimace and says, what do you want? Andy explains the call from Pat Rizzo. and the possibility of auditioning for the drummer position. And Mr. Big says, "Wait here," and closes the door. He comes back a few minutes later, still looking like he caught his wife cheating with the pool boy, and makes the "my boss said to let you in" head gesture. My contact lenses are freaking out right now.
Take your time.
Okay. He then walks away and leaves us standing in the vestibule. So far, so good. Everybody's being nice. A woman approaches from the other room. It's Rose Stone, Sly's sister. She says in a "fuck you" accent, "Go sit over there." Not wishing to be nosy and ask her if someone just punched her in the face, we oblige and take our seats on a narrow bench in the hallway. After about 10 minutes, an older gentleman comes into the hallway and, without introductions or "welcome to the happy home of the family Stone," simply says, "Sly will see you now. Go upstairs, first room on the right." That was Sly's dad, we found out later. Stuck in what feels like a carnival funhouse, up the stairs we go, cautiously approaching the first room on the right. As we enter, we notice 3 men in suits sitting in chairs facing a large waterbed on which Sly is lying face up, eyes closed. Are these people Sly's lawyers, managers, accountants? Have we walked into a business meeting from the Twilight Zone? It's not clear whether Sly is asleep, unconscious, or dead. The room's floor, ceiling, and walls are covered in black fur. I'm sure it was insulation to keep Sly warm in the harsh and unforgiving Beverly Hills winters. Everyone looks up at the two 20-something skinny white boys walking into this room from outer space, wondering what the hell we're doing there. By Sly's side is a bulging manila file folder with nothing written on the tab. Soon enough, we learn about the contents of the folder. Sly partially awakens and, with one eye half open, rolls over and opens the folder to reveal a large amount of white powder. He scoops up a handful, puts it in his face, and sniffs a deep inhale, or whatever it is, into his lungs. Inhale of whatever it is into his lungs, and flops back down onto the pillow. It's now smeared all over his mouth and nose like he had gone face down in a bowl of flour. There are no free chairs in the room, so we sit on the rug with our backs to the wall. Quite comfortable with all that fur. I'm unable to take my eyes off of Sly's almost childlike comical face and what I assume to be cocaine smeared all over it. I'm also wearing large Coke bottle bottom glasses that make my eyes seem a tad larger than they actually are. My pupils are probably dilated too. I guess I was gawking. My bad. Sly, now awake, lifts his head from the pillow, looks at me with an evil frown, and blurts out, "What the fuck are you looking at?" He lets out a coughing laugh and continues, "Yo, bug eyes, you look like you've seen a ghost." Nervous laughs erupt from the audience of 3. He lifts his head up a bit more, looking down his white powdered nose, examining Andy, then me. His brow furrows a little, a pause. Then, in that deep, grainy, Sly Stone voice, he says, "Who the fuck are you? What the fuck are you doing here?" Andy seizes the moment. "I'm Andy. This is Jimmy. My friend Pat Rizzo told me you're looking for a drummer. I think I'm your man." Sly mocks, "You are my man. You are my man." More snickers from the court of 3. Andy, "Yes." My man says, "Yes." "Are you funky?" Andy, "Yes." "Show me, white boy." Ouch. Okay, Sly has set up a set of practice pads in his bedroom. They're just gray rubber pads set up like drums with Toys R Us symbols, and they make a clicking noise exactly like what you would expect from hitting hard rubber with drumsticks. Andy looks at them. Hold on, I gotta blink my eyes so I can see. Andy looks at them with dread, but like I said in the car, what's the worst that could happen? Well, they could all laugh and tell us to get the fuck out of there. So what? Who cares? The strangers, and Sly is so out of it, why take any of it seriously? Andy stands up, walks over to the pads, sits down, and kicks into an amazingly intricate funk beat that even on the pad sounds like the hippest drum beat you ever heard. He had been listening to Tony Williams, a famous jazz drummer who perfected playing drum fills past the downbeat, where most drummers usually hit a cymbal and go back to the normal beat. It's a clever way to make the fill sound cooler. He's nailing it like a pile driver. Sly gets up, on the unstable surface of the waterbed and starts dancing. The waterbed is rolling like a vat of jello in an earthquake. The three others track his movements with bulging eyes, ready to catch him before he loses his balance and impales himself on a bedpost. Sly lets out a hoot and shouts, "You are funky. You a funky motherfucker. That's what I'm talking about. That's the shit. Play that shit. I love you, man. You in my band, motherfucker. You in a Family Stone."
Wow.
After 15 seconds, Andy plays another "How the hell did he do that, Phil?" and ends with a hilarious splat on the crappy tin cymbal. Andy says, "Thank you. Wow, that's great. Listen, I'm really sorry, but we're playing at the Troubadour tonight and we have to get back for our second show. Can I leave my number?" The others now demonstrate that they can in fact speak, and one of them approaches. He extends his hand and says, "Cool, man, you made my man happy. We'll be in touch." Sly says nothing more. No handshake, no congratulations, no discussion of upcoming gigs or rehearsals. He just collapses on the bed, takes in another handful from the manila folder, closes his eyes, and resumes his waterbed stupor with the audience of three in the black fur room line at the top of the stairs in the mansion on Bel Air Road in Beverly Hills, California. And we take our leave. I want to be overly friendly to Rose on the way out as a send up to her prison warden greeting when we arrived, but neither she nor anyone else is around. We let ourselves out. Before we get into our humble little rental car, we run into Sly's driver, who is hanging out by his car in the driveway. Unlike his employers, he's friendly. I notice a pit bull behind the fence eyeing us with a disquieting low frequency sound coming from his throat. Looking back at the driver, I ask, "Is he friendly?" The driver says, "Yeah, friendly. Well, someone messed with the little guy a couple of weeks ago. He took a shovel with a maple handle and leaned on the fence, teasing the dog with the handle. The dog bit the handle in half with one chomp. Do you have any idea how hard it is to bite a maple shovel handle in half? It could take you 5 minutes to saw through it." I had the feeling he was pulling our chains, but after everything else we witnessed that night, I was not interested in putting it to the test. Sly's next gig was in Philadelphia. Andy's many attempts to get together with the band and rehearse proved futile. Sly and the Family Stone were notorious for not showing up for gigs or having individual band members not show up.
Yep.
So that added to Andy's discomfort and frustration. The band had been mired in internal disagreements, excessive drug use, and had become dysfunctional to the point where the only reason they were together was to support their drug-fueled lifestyle. The Philadelphia date came around, and the first time Andy played with them was that evening when he walked out onto the stage. Larry Graham, Sly's bass player, became Andy's ally and friend, so he maintained eye contact during the show, telegraphing the song endings so Andy would know what was coming. Andy lasted with them for about a year and a half. With Sly and the Family Stone on his resume, he began a long career as one of the most in-demand studio drummers in the world, with clients like John Lennon, George Harrison, Roxy Music, Cat Stevens, Pink Floyd, Rod Stewart, Sting, Laura Nyro, and so many more. Oh yes, and of course, Carly Simon with Paul and Me. So if you're bored between shows and you have a couple of hours to kill, why not ring doorbells in Beverly Hills? You might just find someone looking for your skill who has an instrument in their bedroom on which you can audition and get them dancing on their waterbed. Work for Andy.
What was he wearing?
That's brilliant.
Who knows? What was Sly wearing?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, Andy. We want to know what Andy was wearing.
What was Sly
well, I
wearing?
can tell you both. Andy was probably wearing a light blue shirt and jeans. Sly was wearing something black. Black pants, black shirt. He was just this black figure on the bed.
Man, that's a great story.
Yeah, that's a great story.
Yeah, that's funny.
Thank you.
I'm tempted.
all due respect to Sly, the guy is one of the most creative MFs that ever lived. I still listen to his records and just, oh my God, these are so great.
Oh yeah, I love
And
Sly.
they were fantastic live, but he just really got into drugs and just killed his career.
It's the devil. It is the devil.
But he has his music on, what was I just hearing? Now, it's not Family Affair, but one of his songs is the theme from some series or movie I was just watching. I can't remember what it was, but so he's making some royalties now.
But he's dead,
Yeah, it's not.
Sly's dead?
isn't he?
No, I don't think so. No,
Really?
I think he's
Oh,
78
blind
and
data.
curiously still alive.
Blind
I will
data.
find out.
Blind
Yeah, Google
data.
it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure
And
I
I'm
remember
googling.
that.
I'm googling.
Oh boy.
Oh no, he's not dead.
How old?
He's 78 years old.
Yeah, I got it
He'll
right.
yeah, he'll turn 79 on the 15th.
Okay.
See now my children of the lawn are out there saying no, he's not going to tell his sly story.
Well,
again.
you have to
Not going to tell his
You have
sly
to.
story again.
because of.
Oh, you got one?
Oh my God!
Yeah,
Hit me.
yeah, I got one.
Did you play drums with him as well?
No, almost, maybe.
No.
I don't know. You tell me.
He was
Okay.
a kid.
I'm recording at CBS, which is all those in the city, all those studios above each other,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
and they're all like exactly the same studio. And
This is New York?
yeah,
You just sold another book.
Yeah.
Laurie Richardson's going to buy one right after the show.
Yay!
All right, there you go.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Oh, it's wall-to-wall stories like that with very famous people that you know.
Yeah.
So we had the session after the Rascals. The Rascals come to find out, because I talked to Gene almost every day. Years and years ago, I said to him, do you remember being at CBS Studios 1970? Yeah, of course I remember it. That's the day we broke up. It was like,
Oh,
oops. So we were the next session, and we were gonna trade our band as a band for some studio time.
Yeah, they were like.
So we
17.
cut the rhythm tracks first, and somebody said to me, "Man, you got to go see Edgar Winter. He's up in Studio E, right?" So I was, okay. I'm 17, I think, and
Long hair.
it's typical.
Hippie.
And so I go up there, and the doors open into the lobby of the studio, and you can see the studio doors open, and there he is sitting right there. Come on in, man. He's, you want to get high? That's why I
oh,
can't.
sure.
Shucks. All right.
Hi with Edgar.
And he goes through a pack of Marlboros. I'll try to get through this story so I don't put my people that have heard this
Oh,
12
they're saying
times
this
to
is the
sleep.
best story, Steve. So
And
they like it.
so he's going through his cigarette pack, right, and he finds the one that has the mark on it.
Mm-hmm.
But he lights it, and he passes it to one of the girls that was singing background, and they comes around to me, and I hit this thing, and it's like, huh?
Doesn't taste like
And-
pot.
Well, and I hit it again, and all of a sudden I know. I mean, there's a whole thing. He said, I'm going to do an overdub. He was doing some B3 solos on. I mean, it was just crazy. And but all of a sudden, I realized, I don't know what that was, but that was not pop. And I cannot afford to turn into, a talking fruit fly in this studio with these people. I got to get out of here, right? So I go, and I said, listen, man, I got to get down to my session. Meanwhile, I don't know how long I've even been there, right?
Right.
So I said, listen, I got to get back to my session. Thanks a lot. It was really great, and I get in the elevator, and I'm standing there for what feels like a half hour, right? And all of us, and so I'm no longer standing in the elevator. I'm in some space where I don't even know
In
where
the
I am,
Grand
right?
Canyon.
And all of a sudden, it starts to move. I felt like I was there for a half hour. I was there for a half hour, and somebody finally rings the bell down on the main floor. And when the doors open, it's frickin' Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, my God.
And not only is it Jimi Hendrix, but he's wearing all the fur and the feathers and the suede and and he's glad to see me. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, what? Hey, man, he's talking about Rosie this and this and that and the other thing. And come on, let's go. And I'm staring at Hendrix, and I'm thinking, wait a minute.
And you're out of your mind at the moment, right?
Oh yeah.
And Hendrix
He's
is
tripping.
dead, okay? So he's already dead. But here he is, and I'm thinking,
Oh, wait a minute.
oh, yeah.
Oh,
So-
hold on.
Long story short.
This is past when he died.
Uh-huh.
And
He
I'm
wasn't
like,
there.
no, he was
No,
not there.
but he thought he
he's got
saw
the
him.
furry boots and the freaking hat and
Oh my God.
and the fringe and the suede and the fur. And he
And he's
says, "Come
asking him
on,
if he
man.
saw Rosie."
Come on. Have you seen Rosie?" And I said, "Well, what?" So it's his sister.
I guess that's the same
So,
Rose that you
so
got.
he says, "Come on, man." And we go into the vocal booth, and the vocal booth is long. I mean, it's on the side of the live room, and it's, all the paned glass and the sliding doors. And there's some
Wait,
folded.
hold on. I'm missing a detail here. You walked into the studio with Jimi Hendrix?
No.
Well,
We
yes,
thought it was
yes,
Jimi Hendrix.
yes, but
But it was Sly.
I thought it was Jimi Hendrix, and I thought the reason he was glad to see me is because it was like a Paul is dead thing, and I had just walked in on it, right?
Uh-huh.
So Jimmy says, "Come on, man," and we go into the vocal booth, right? And there's a proper like a living room chair in there.
No, he's
And a big-
tripping on PCP.
Yeah, and the big boom mic, right, with an 87. And then there's a folding chair at the bottom facing that way. And there's another folding chair. And he says, "Sit down, man." And so I sit down, and somebody's talking back and forth. They say, "All right, give us a check." And he goes, "It's a family affair." And it was frickin' Sly.
Oh, man.
And
Yeah.
he was
You
so...
can make that mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, but he thought he knew me.
Well, that's fun.
Oh, well, for a
That's how
while.
fucked up he was.
That's how, I mean, I was going to say...
You, Mark, would have been on that session. He played on that song.
Well, then it was the 1970 CBS. I'll give you the date. That's very
And
funny.
he thought Steve
Yeah.
knew Rosie.
He thought I knew Rose, and like...
So
that's
Rose
why
would
he
be
was-
his sister then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know, maybe I was dating her. I have no idea what it was.
Maybe she had the heroin.
I don't know what. Yeah, but man, he was like, it was so. And did you ever? I don't know. Did you? Smoking pot. I never felt like that before in my life. And I'm
No,
like,
of course not.
trying to see Hendrix. I'm like trying to see him. Like this can't be. My mind is just not working. And oh man. And then I finally find the band. I don't even know how that happened.
Well, you
They-
realized it was Sly when he started
well,
singing.
I realized that I had to get out of there because he was cutting his vocals. So I left, and then I forget who came in. Maybe Tommy or somebody said, "Hey man, where you been?" I'm hanging out with Hendrix, man. So it was. That's my Sly story.
That's his Sly story.
That's
Wow.
my story. Yeah,
Wow.
and it's
But Sly didn't dose him. Edgar Winter did.
yeah. It was Edgar Winter was DMT, some angel dust or something.
DMZ.
Yeah.
Yeah, DMZ.
The
TM.
demilitarized zone. No, that's the militarized zone. That's not
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
demilitarized zone.
Man, it was that was what an experience. I mean, just
Sure.
and sometimes maybe you could lose those things, but that is so imprinted in my brain because it. I mean, think about it. Sly, he was all dressed in purple and white. He had the puffy sleeves and the fringe and the vest and the hat that looks like the thing you put over toilet paper, the crocheted thing.
Yeah.
And he's got the
Did you have the fur
knee-high-
boots?
Yes, the knee-high white fur boots
Yep,
with
yep,
purple
yep.
suede pants and
Yeah,
a
yeah.
white belt and a
Uh-huh.
oh god, it was unbelievable.
Hey man, he was
And it was
styling
like-
in the studio.
That's
Jimmy, you got to
Jimi
give me.
Hendrix.
I'm going to write the name of your book
It
because
was-
people want to buy it after the show. So
Ah,
Okay. So it's called Behind
okay, behind
with a dash and then
dash.
autobiography of a musical shapeshifter.
Okay,
And shapeshifter is one word.
okay.
Hey, man,
If anybody's a Carly Simon fan, let me tell you what she wrote on the back.
oh nice.
I asked her, I said, could you, just say something? She says, oh, sure. So she writes, Jimmy and I discovered the music scene together, writing songs and listening to every new LP that shouted out to us from the bins of Sam Goodies. Jimmy led me. He inspired and directed me. He taught me and he made me laugh. We were in Greenwich Village together, ditto London, ditto LA, ditto as many backstages as you could care to drop the names of. It's all in this book, this one. We cared about each other and continued to throughout those tender years of getting to know ourselves. It could have been any other gentle soul or not so gentle soul, but no, I got lucky. It was Jimmy.
Ah, bravo.
Yeah. Like,
That's
I
very
mean,
cool.
I
Yeah.
emailed her back and I said, are you kidding me? Give yourself a hug for that one.
Man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Well, she always, I mean, she always seemed like a fairly grounded and balanced kind of, I mean, even though we know that there's turbulence in every life, but she seemed like somebody who was destined to get her balance, I think, so.
She spent her life working on it. I'm not sure is balance is the word I would use for it, but friendly and warm and just a delight to be around. Yes.
Okay.
She has her demons. She has her demons,
Well, don't we all?
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Show me someone in the room who doesn't have any demons.
That's right.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
The trick is to party with them. Okay?
Yeah. You can't get rid of them, so you might as well party with them.
Well, I listened to, who was it? Whose documentary did we watch the other night? Come on. That said the thing about the therapist?
What thing about the film?
Oh, this guy, I can't. Oh, it would
No,
know.
we watch documentaries all the time.
No, watch-
Oh,
it
wait,
was-
what's his name? Geffen, David Geffen.
David
Geffen. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He said he went to therapy. Now, I've never done therapy. I know people have done it. I think my brother did it does
You
it
know your brother
for
did
his
it.
whole life. Okay.
Yeah.
And he said, David Geffen said to his therapist, he said, let me ask you something. He said, are the voices in my head going to stop? He said, no, they're never going to stop. You're going to learn to stop listening to them.
Yeah.
So, something to that effect. And I
Yeah.
think, okay, it was worth watching.
Yeah.
That didn't work so well for Jim Gordon, but I guess for some.
No. Wow.
Yeah.
That's, did you guys all do that together?
Sure.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What did they do?
Jim was one of the nicest guys I ever met. I mean, I sat with him, talked to him. I didn't know who he was at the time. And, this was right during the sessions for You're So Vain. So I just said to him, aren't you an LA drummer? And he goes, yeah. And I said, what are you doing over here in England? He says, I was touring with my band. I said, oh, what's your band's name? He says, Derek and the Dominoes. I said, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. You play with Derek and the Dominoes? And he goes, yeah, I'm their drummer. I said, so you played on Layla, my favorite song in the world? He says, played on it? I freaking wrote it.
Wow.
Yeah, he co-wrote it with Clapton. He wrote the whole piano thing at the end. So, I didn't want to do the Wayne's World. I am not worthy. I said, yeah, man, that's cool. But he was just a killer drummer. Not terribly complicated, but just so rock solid. And just the right fills at the right time and the right everything. And then those voices in his head said, Mommy is your enemy. Get her.
Oh, yeah, well, that's right.
Mommy is your enemy. Cut her up.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
Jim.
And he keeps turning down what do you call it when they let you out of jail? Parole, not parole.
Parole.
But,
I
guess he keeps turning it
parole.
down.
Yeah.
He keeps turning it down because he says, I just know that I'm going to be crazy if I go back out there and the same's going to happen again. And I'm happy here and I'm just going to stay here.
Oh, wow.
But, he forms bands in the Clink and they play music, and
Wow, man.
stay there forever. Yeah.
Wow. Well, hurt people. So,
Yeah. And I think like 9 out of 10 people go to therapy and, they blame it on their mothers.
So I
don't know. I think Dad was up there too for me.
I didn't have that kind of an option. It was all or nothing for me. But I didn't need anybody to tell. I could tell. I knew.
You knew.
So I was good.
Yeah.
And I had,
Well, this hour flew by. We're going to have to do part 3 with you.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Oh, shit, man. This is like, we're going to have to do part 3 because
I didn't even get past 1970.
No. 1970. I'm in the studio with Hendrix and you're, running around with Carly.
I had a similar experience. Again, it's in the book, but we got invited to a Playboy party. Carly's manager used to be the entertainment director for Playboy International, so she got us an invite to a Playboy party in London. And of course, we'd have gone to the any party because we didn't have any friends over there. Yeah, hell, we'll go to a party. And then we found out it was Playboy party. And Newmark decides this is a good night to do acid. And I'm like, you sure, Andy? He said, oh, come on, man. And we did. So I tell this whole story of how it was. I don't know whether I should go into it because
don't ruin
I can't
it.
do justice. But let me tell you, seeing
You
these
can't force
bunnies.
a good acid story.
These
You
people
can't.
are saying
there's-
part 3.
You can't. I have a quick acid story.
Okay.
People are saying part 3.
Part 3. Okay. We're living in the Hamptons. We're living on the top floor of a nightclub. The body was an old bootlegging mansion turned into a nightclub downstairs.
Which Hamptons?
Everybody
Which
lived
Hamptons?
up there. South.
one?
It
South.
was actually Watermill. Middie's General Store, if you remember.
No, well, I used to have a house in East Hampton.
No,
wow.
no.
Okay, so they were
So-
a house band for.
Of course, that's right, the Southampton connection. Okay, so we're the house band there, right? And we're 71.
Okay.
And we had some window pane, and my roadie came in, was in my room, and the sun was about to come up, and I said, hey, man, let's do some acid and go to sleep, and we'll wake up tripping. And he said, oh, that's a great idea. Okay, let's do that. So I said, let's ask Larry if he wants a keyboard player. If he wants to do it, knock on his door. And Larry is like, he's 6 sheets to the wind, as drunk as he could be.
And he used to love to trip.
And, Larry, we're going to take acid, go to sleep, wake up tripping. Okay. So we gave it to him. And the next thing I know, we fall asleep. Next thing I know, my door is it's like giants are trying to break through it. And I open it up, and it's Larry, and he's going,
Oh no.
and I said, Larry, what's the matter? He goes, I don't know. I feel so weird. And I said, man, don't you remember we told you we were going to take some acid and wake up tripping? And he went, okay.
Oh God.
That's the shortest acid story I have.
And just like that, he was, oh, that's all it is.
Man, and yeah.
Well, you know how your mind
Yeah, I
works.
mean, that's a scary
We
thing.
had 3 people saying yes. Part 3.
Okay, part 3. And in part 3,
My honor.
I will
honor.
read you, I'm going to read you
My
a story
Miranda's.
from my book. Well, it's backwards. It's written
it
in
is backwards.
Klingon. It's written in Klingon. It's called Luck of the Draw.
Right, but
Okay.
it's not published yet.
Yeah, but it's freaking funny.
Sue said that you have many
It's
books
funny.
in you.
Yeah, but this is a go. It might be too long. I'll just send it. Well, anyway.
Okay.
So, yeah, this
Goodbye.
is amazing. So next time I'll ask you the questions, right? Unless maybe I should ask you one question
You
for
asked him
each
the questions
episode.
last time.
Okay, sure.
I what?
You asked him the questions last time, didn't you?
I don't think so.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
We did?
Yep,
Yep.
because his favorite place to eat is in the Wicker Park, Chicago airport.
See, that's why you need her.
Yep.
That's not the only reason.
I know that's not the only reason, but it's
So I
helpful to
also
have
said-
a producer who takes notes.
There's a place in Syosset, Long Island, for Nina's, a French place.
Meninas.
Yes.
Very good. There you
Okay.
go.
So we know where we asked him the questions.
And it redefines the term getting fucked by your producer.
Ouch.
Oh,
Where's my thing? Where's
I ain't
my
going near that one.
No. So man, Jimmy, part 3?
yeah.
Part 3. I'm
Okay,
ready.
so where will we start? 75? Where will we begin? Because
Okay,
we'll go
so-
through the parallel universe. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, we've got McCartney, we've got Rod Stewart, we've got Jim Webb, we've got all these people we can talk about. That there's stories in the Doors. We talked about the Doors, though. I think.
Yeah, we did
Yeah.
talk about the Doors.
We talked about the Doors. And then writing for TV and news shows, and there's a lot.
Oh, there's at least part 5 in there.
Well, so that's what I'm saying.
3, 4, and 5.
Well, listen, as always, this
Turned
is
it into
great.
a series.
Yeah, it's
There you go.
a mini-series.
Well, you're
Jimmy,
gonna
the
sell
mini
Season
some-
1, episode 1, 2, and 3. Do you record these things, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
you can-
okay. Send me links. I'd love to see how idiotic.
Oh, I will. Yeah, it's fun, man. I mean, and the thing about it is, I think it's just about 2 years ago that we started doing it, and and it's funny because if you look at some of the real old ones, you can see, not the high production value that we have
Sure.
now, but
Yeah.
I think I was a floating head with a black background.
Well,
and
this
some
is on
stars.
YouTube also.
Yeah, yeah. So it's.
Okay.
I'll send you links. I'll keep you posted. You got to come in one of these Fridays, man, because I tell you what, that shit gets real funny.
I'll try this Friday. I was doing something last Friday and the one before and I couldn't do it, but I'll definitely put it on my calendar. It's 7, same time, right? 7:00.
Yeah, 7 times, any time. I mean, what guys do, it's funny because you'll have a guy at a gig and he'll be on a break and he'll think, oh, cell phone. Listen, I'm on a break. I just wanted to say hello. And, and
And
it's,
then
we got
disappear.
a guy who, Rich Verge, who's
In Aruba.
He's in Aruba. We've got
Oh,
Lenny
okay.
down in Antigua. It's an international
That's
festival.
really cool.
It's fun. It's
fun.
really fun.
the modern world.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
And they run
Amazing.
the whole thing from the International Space Station.
Right here from the old ISS, and there you go.
There you go.
All right.
All good. Now, we were talking about Jimi Hendrix. You see, I got my Hendrix record here. It's my favorite gold record. Watch.
You got it in your spacecraft?
Yes, I do.
That's because he
nice.
can never find it when he wants to show it
I
to
can never
somebody.
find it, so I keep it up there. But you can.
Hold on, you played on a Hendrix record?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, after he was dead.
I was gonna say he Mitch Mitchell outlived him, so unless he was sick one day.
Yeah, I have had Mitch's guy, but you see, I don't know if you can see that. It says Steve, stay free, Jimi Hendrix.
Nice.
Yeah, but
Nice.
this was a gift from a friend of mine that knew I loved Hendrix, and he's
so cool.
a collectibles guy, and he bought somebody's autograph book at a yard sale or something. There's a guy named Steve, and on the back of Hendrix's autograph is Barbara Eden's.
Yeah, to Steve.
I love it.
Steve. Oh yeah, it's
Barbara
great.
Eden.
And my friend he's such an artist, and he made that beautiful display for
Yeah,
me, and I
it's
love it so much.
fantastic.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
All
Funny.
right, well, we're going to have Angus contact
Yes,
you and
so we'll
set
set
up part
No
three.
problem.
Part 3, man. This is great.
I'd love to do it. This is fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
pick out another chapter.
yeah. Pick out
All right.
another chapter.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll figure out what's a good. Maybe.
I mean,
I think the Playboy story. I think that'll be.
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And so we'll have people. Be sure that they read the book before they come into here.
There you go. There you go.
So is that the one you're going to do? The Playboy story?
Yeah, I think so. I'll look through them, and I don't want to read something that's too long because it'll take up the whole.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand.
I'll flip through and figure out what's
And
good.
they're going to buy the book anyway.
Yeah.
Actually, the very opening chapter might be fun. That's when the namby-pamby MOR critters with their younger girl got thrown in jail for shooting up a motel.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay, that would be good.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
I opened the book with that.
Okay.
Oh, good. That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Oh man, cool. All right. Well, I'm
All
looking
right.
forward to part 3.
Okay, man. I'll
All right.
talk to Angus and we'll hook it up.
I'm looking forward to it, man.
Very good. Thank you.
Take
Bye,
care, bro.
Jimmy.
We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Wow, he's great.
Yes, he is. You're still on.
Yes, he
He
is.
is.
I'm trying to find the exit button. Where's the
Oh, yeah,
exit?
I can do that.
Oh, there it is.
We love you, Jimmy.
Love you too. Love you. Bye.
Can't get out.
Once you're in, you
I can't get out. Hey, listen, thank
Once
you.
we got you, you can't get out. But
Oh shit, we're having fun now.
We love him. He's great.
Oh, did we? Well, yeah. And it's it's so much fun because you're bouncing off. We could do this, a story with this, a story with that. It, especially, and it takes a certain kind of person to write a book or tell those kind of stories. And you can't just. Well,
Yeah.
so we were sitting there, and he said, "Yeah," and I said, "Yeah."
He's good.
He's
good.
got a very nice delivery, and the book is well written.
And Sue says it's cool when an author reads parts of his own book.
See that?
Mm-hmm. And she also said, like I said, that you have many
Is it cool?
books in you.
How about this one?
Steve has many books in him of great funny stories.
Okay, let's see.
What?
I'm going to read the first page.
Of?
One of the best
no.
parts of being a touring musician is preparing for the tour to begin. You're done with rehearsal. All that's left is to come up with funny hotel names to disguise your real identity from fans. You see, one never checks into a hotel under his or her own name. You use a pseudonym. And we used to spend hours coming up with the perfect hotel names for ourselves. On that happy note.
All right, tomorrow night. Oh,
Oh,
people.
yeah. Do we have requests?
Yes,
What's,
it's
you know?
Anything Goes Friday. What? I guess you were so mesmerized with Jimmy.
Yeah,
didn't,
you see that shit happens when you get in the room with the real
You
thing.
need to tell us what you want us to play.
Mhm.
Okay, anybody throwing anything out there? They're all saying good night. They're probably
That's it.
left
Oh,
already.
they're all stoned and.
Well, it's 10 after 8.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's,
All right, so what? I got to pick stuff out,
All
or
right,
you gonna let us
we'll
know
pick
tomorrow?
stuff out. But next week, you have your songs ready.
Thanks,
for
Red
Wednesday.
Dog. Funky music. Oh,
Funky
okay.
music.
All right.
White boy.
Okay, the
Play
Flame
the funky
RZB, no
music.
problem. That's
White
easy.
boy.
But Sue asking for some funky music. I happen to have some funky music.
You do?
Well recorded funky music. Well,
Okay.
yeah. I got funk.
Okay, Sue wants some
So we got
funky
funk, we got the
music.
Flame, and what else?
Who wants the flame?
Tim.
The flame?
Mm-hmm. RZB,
Okay.
Flame.
Uh-huh.
I got a
Don't you
few
have
of
an
those.
RZB thing queued up already?
Do I know?
Yeah, you do. That you were going to play
Do I really?
last night, and we didn't get to it.
This? No. No. Oh, yeah, this.
Yeah, Losing
Okay.
You. Okay, we'll play that tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. Losing You. Oh, Kitty wants any John music.
Any John Entwistle music?
Yep.
Man, I got to tell you what. I'm doing this album, and I'm really in the thick of it now. And some of the stuff I've found, if you're
Okay, so Kitty wants any John music.
any John music,
we'll
I might have to
find-
pull
we'll look.
something. We'll pull something special for you. So we
Okay.
got John, the
Funky
Flame.
music, the flame,
Funky.
and we'll have "Losing You" by Robin Zander Band.
Okay,
That's
so
4.
So that's the 4. There we
Okay,
go.
so
okay.
remember though, for next week, get your songs ready.
Well, no, it's better like this.
Okay, well we're done. So
Okay, well,
tomorrow
that's
night,
it. Well.
anything goes.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
If we don't see you in the future, I'll see you in the pasture.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.